and welcome to Michigan Matters. Wishing all the dads, fathers, grandpas, and others who serve in that important role a very happy Father's Day. We have an action-packed show in store for you today. Distracted driving is a growing issue as more people take to the roads this summer. We have two leaders with us to discuss the perils. But first, we're kicking things off with Ryan Sullivan of the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy, who's here to talk about amazing things going on along Detroit's riverfront. It's a show about keeping people safe and spotlighting cool stuff along one of the world's best riverfronts. Let's get started.
From CBS Detroit, this is Michigan Matters with Carol Kane. Michigan Matters is brought to you in part by Cure Auto Insurance.
And we're so pleased to welcome back our old friend of the show, Ryan Sullivan, who's CEO of Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. Happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that.
So with your four children, I hope they're
right.
doing something extra special for you today.
We'll find out. I hope so as well. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's been a while since you've been here. You had just kind of gotten into the job last time we sat and talked. And I think that's been, what, 2 years you've been?
It's been about 2 years, yeah.
Okay. So you stepped into the Conservancy, which was having major problems. There was a CFO there who had embezzled millions, got caught doing so, went to jail, and so you've been repairing the image and the damage that was done through that, and meanwhile doing the day job of the Conservancy's work. So all that said, how do you describe what these 2 years have been like for you?
Yeah, wow. It's a lot to think about in one breath, but it's been a transformational experience for me. Throughout my career, I've been completely in the private sector, but longtime Detroiter, huge advocate and supporter of the riverfront for those years. So then to have this opportunity to be asked to step in, play a leadership role throughout this challenging time frame was something that I never expected yet was called to do, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm incredibly proud of the work that our team has put forward over these last 2 years, and it's been a whole community effort. You know, our staff, our board, all of our key stakeholders, the way that everyone has rallied and come together to continue to move this organization forward and importantly deliver such an incredible experience along our waterfront.
I remember it was about 2 years ago when news first came out about what the CFO had done, and people were flabbergasted because you had some of the most influential leaders in our region on the board of the Conservancy. I know you changed things, put in more checks and balances to help prevent that, and have you been able to get sponsors to come back? I know there were some who were very upset by this and left. Were you able to get some of those back?
Yeah, we're incredibly thankful and grateful for the support that we have received throughout the community, whether those are large foundation, philanthropic organizations, public sector partners, corporations, as well as individual donors. We have been receiving, support from all of those different folks throughout this period of time. It's understandable that some folks took a pause, back in 2024, but we're seeing many of those folks come back, which is great to see, and I think it really speaks volumes to the importance of this work throughout our city and throughout our entire region.
Well, let's dive right in, and I'm talking about what the Conservancy is actually all about, and that's Detroit's riverfront. Now that we're finally into warm weather, the summer's here, and this is the time to go to parks and all these other things that we have available throughout our community here. Let's talk about the Ralph C. Wilson Centennial Park, which opened up late in 2025, just before the winter. So not a chance to do a whole lot of stuff there, but now it is open.
Yes.
And talk a little bit about that, because this really is kind of like that was maybe the soft open. This is the real open.
Yeah, this is prime time. I was out there yesterday, spent most of the day at the park. Schools are still in session. I counted 16 school buses along the riverfront. Those are all people coming down for field trips and other different activities. The park was packed, and it's wonderful. Last year we were doing all these tours in the summer, construction tours. And we would have to be describing, this is why the park was designed in this way. This is what we're hoping to see. And now to be here a year later and seeing the park active, alive, seeing families create memories together, seeing school groups come down for field trips, seeing people from all throughout our region come together and meet each other for the first time. it's really special. And I would highly encourage everyone, if you haven't checked it out, please do.
And you have really iconic structures there, including the bear slide, which I think Delta Dental was a sponsor of that one. But that huge bear slide, which, again, is one of these things you associate with Detroit's riverfront. That's another piece of the puzzle, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The Delta Dental Play Garden that you mentioned, the Bernstein Bear Slide, so many iconic images and play structures. The Water Wonderland, which just opened in May. Yesterday, it was in the mid-80s, and that thing was packed, and there was kids and adults and everyone, enjoying themselves, cooling off in the water, playing in the sand. There's no other splash pad like it in the Metro Detroit region. It's just so wonderful to see.
I know we've got a lot more to talk about here, but we're going to take a quick break, continue the conversation. Keep it right here. Welcome back to Michigan Matters. We're talking with Ryan Sullivan, who runs the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. And one of the things that Conservancy does is put on some really cool events, particularly in the summertime here. You have your big fundraiser, the Shimmer on the River, coming up this week too, right?
Yep, absolutely. June 18th, Thursday night.
And you'll have lots of people, lots of things going on?
Yes, it's going to be at Valade Park. We've had it held there for a number of years. We're expecting great weather, so it's a wonderful evening on the riverfront to celebrate all of our work with many of our closest partners and friends. So tickets are available online, and we'd love to have you come down.
You also have another event that's free called Reading and Rhythm on the Riverfront, which I have been blessed to be part of. Reading books to children, helped in literacy and inspire love of reading. Goes on in July and August, Thursdays and Fridays, and that's been, I know General Motors is a big supporter of that one.
Yeah, that program's been going on for over a decade. It's a terrific program. Long before I worked here at the Conservancy, my kids attended this program. I actually have some books still in our house that say, courtesy of General Motors. So it's a great program. We find that for many families, it's the first literacy program that they ever attend. So it has a great impact throughout our community.
So you did something rather unique recently. You did a 1,000-mile challenge. So what was the reason? What was it?
Yeah, I did that last year. As we were talking earlier, my first full year in this role. And I kind of came up with this idea on a lark just as a way to force myself to spend time in our spaces. Number one, to get to know the spaces better, how they operate, but number two, and most importantly, to connect with the people that use these spaces and to understand them better. And I got to tell you, Carol, it was just an amazing experience throughout the entire year. I finished on December 30th. I was hoping to finish a little bit earlier, but I did get it done.
Was it snowing?
It was
Did
snowing.
you have snowshoes on as you're making the lap?
Yes, but it was just an incredible opportunity to spend time on our riverfront and to connect with people and hear their stories, where they're from, why they come down to the riverfront, what it means to them and their families, and it was a great time.
Detroit really does have an amazing riverfront, and because of the work through the Conservancy and foundations all getting together to pull together and donating money, and it's really become something that's world class. How do we compare to places like Chicago or other cities?
Yeah, our riverfront and connected greenways, I would put them up there against anybody, especially in the United States and even North America. And I think this is something that I'm personally trying to do a better job of conveying to folks. We have over 8 miles when you add up the Riverwalk, plus the Dennis Archer Greenway, DeQuinder Cut, and the Southwest Greenway. All these spaces are connected. You could ride your bike from Michigan Central to Belle Isle to Eastern Market to downtown, up to Southwest Detroit and into Corktown, all without ever going on the road. And that means incredible opportunity for families, for young people, for senior citizens, for everyone throughout our region to enjoy this space. And none of that was, I shouldn't say none of that, that full connection was open last fall with the opening of Wilson Park, because that was the missing piece on the west side.
Right. As you look now over with the riverfront and projects and things going forward, what's the next step in this?
Yeah, speaking back to that connectivity, I mean, look at many of the largest development projects that are in the works or have been announced recently. The WNBA facility and community center at the Uniroyal site, adjacent to the Riverwalk. The plans for the Renaissance Center transformation, very adjacent to the Riverwalk. All the work that Claude, who we were on your show together recently, Huntington Place, the JW Marriott on the Riverwalk, everything happening at Michigan Central. Right, that's all connected to the Southwest Greenway, less than a mile from Wilson Park. So there's an amazing amount of development and transformation that's happening in our city, all of that is, I shouldn't say all that, much of it is connected to our Riverwalk and greenways. So how do we collectively work together, the Riverwalk Conservancy as well as these development projects, to make sure that this is as impactful and transformative to our city as it can be?
We often spotlight foundations and have them in talking about how things are going, and we know right now with the economy being as it is, with the war, with gas prices, inflation, everybody's under challenges. Corporations, their foundations are under challenges. How is that affecting your organization, given on the heels of, regardless of what happened 2 years ago?
Sure.
You're now sitting here 2026. How are you doing right now?
Yeah, we're doing well. Look, it's a challenged environment economically for everyone, and we're not, immune to that. But we are managing our operations very well, and we receive tremendous feedback from the community. We offer free, almost everything we do is free to the public. Reading a Rhythm that you mentioned, access to all of our public spaces, going down the bear slide, the splash pad, field trips, all these things are offered at free to the public. So this is a tremendous amenity and offering that our community needs, arguably now more than ever. And we're so thankful for the philanthropic support that we have so that we can do this work. But make no mistake about it, we're very mindful about our use of resources, and we manage our organization as a business like anybody else. We have a certain amount of revenue, and we have to manage that with our expenses.
One thing I know is that as everybody talks about growing population in the city and the state and communities here, one of the things is getting more people, young people, to stay here and move here, and things like culture and things to do and transportation are like that. Those are top of the list when they're looking at where to live. So certainly things like having, active parkways and things to do is something that does help all that. It's
absolutely a key talent attraction as well as retention asset for our entire region. If you look at some of the great initiatives that the mayor's office is highlighting right now, my family's a great example of that, right? We're here raising 4 children. There's many families like that throughout the city, and the amenities that we have at the Riverfront Conservancy are a great asset.
There's so much more to talk about, but unfortunately, Ryan, we're out of time here. I want to thank you so much for being here. There's so much going on. We'll just have to have you back talking about some of these other things coming up here later in the summer and the fall.
Very much appreciate that. Always a pleasure to be here.
Great to have you here. And keep it right here. We're back with more Michigan Matters right after this. And welcome back to Michigan Matters. We're now joined by Steve Kiefer, founder of Kiefer Foundation, and Regina Carto, who is GM's Vice President of Global Product, Safety, Systems, and Certification. Oh my God, what a title here. Just say you work for GM. We'll leave it at there.
Got it.
So great to have you guys here. Thanks for being here. And Steve, happy Father's Day to you. I know you have 4 kids, and you have 3 who are still living, and this is a bittersweet day for you as one of your sons was killed in a distracted driving auto accident here. So I'm sure this is a bittersweet day for you.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. It's actually our 10th Father's Day without Mitchell, which is hard to believe. It'll be 10 years in September that Mitchell was killed by a distracted driver. So we think about him every day, but we're really proud of the work that we're doing in his memory.
Well, and you are doing some amazing things around the country too, and changing laws, which we'll get to here. But just so people know, just the quick story was he was driving back to Michigan State, a freshman there, and was...
Yeah, he came home. It was his first month at Michigan State. He came home for a Lions game on a Sunday, and he was driving back on a beautiful Monday morning, dry road, sunshine out, no reason for a crash. Traffic slowed on I-96. He slowed, and the young lady behind him didn't. She was on Snapchat, and she rear-ended Mitchell and drove him across a very narrow strip of grass on I-96 in Ingham County into oncoming traffic where a truck hit him.
And I know on my drive up to Lansing, there is a marker on the highway, the Mitchell Kiefer. There. It's heartbreaking, which is why we're here to talk about this. This is distracted driving, which is a giant issue. With summertime coming up, more people driving and more distractions inside the vehicle. And I know that Regina, this is part of what you do in your job, is helping people stay safe when you have so many distractions, right?
Yes, exactly. I think, at GM we're doing a lot to combat this. It's a very preventable problem, but it's so prevalent today. And, some of the technology that we are working on is intended to keep hands on the wheel and eyes on the road. And that includes a lot of features that we have, like even natural voice activated features where you can change and control things in the vehicle. Connectivity for your phone, so you can make and receive calls, you can have your texts read to you, and also our driver attention assist feature, which is actually, it's got a camera and sensors that are looking at your eye position, making sure that drivers don't glance down or off the road for too long or too frequently.
I'll come back and tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, you after you made lemonade out of the lemons that life threw your family with the loss of Mitchell and that horrible accident. You started a foundation to raise awareness because, as you and I have talked before, you also were someone who did other things while driving and immediately changed your pattern of how you were driving, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm the first to admit that I'm a recovering distracted driver. There were days before this happened to me that I was proud to say I could drive with my knee and drink coffee and look at my phone, and now I'm embarrassed to say that, but I tell people that because I know a lot of people do it, and I just hope that they don't wait until something like this happens to them or their family before they change behavior.
I know there's like how many thousands of Americans are killed in distracted driving accidents?
Yeah, I like to start with the biggest number. 1.3 million people around the world get killed in auto crashes. In this country, it's about 40,000 each year. And while the data says about 10% are distracted, we know it's way underreported. So we believe the number is closer to 50%. 50% of those 40,000 people. So some 20,000 people are about 120 people a day are being killed on the roads, and we think about half of them are distracted.
You were high-flying GM executive, eventually left that and started the foundation with your family in Mitchell's honor. You're going around the country and getting distracted laws put on the books in states, right? How many states have you been successful in getting that done?
Yeah, so we now have 34 states that have these laws in place. As you know, traffic laws are state laws, so you have to do it over and over again in each state. We got Michigan done 3 years ago. It took us 5 years, though, to get that done.
Yeah.
And, in every state where we get this done, the data says that crashes and fatalities tend to drop about 10 to 20%.
Yeah.
So it's not perfect, but it's really a good start.
Yeah. And Regina, we know that summertime people are taking to the roads, particularly more so now because flying is so expensive, so people are driving more. And the time between July 4th and Labor Day are dangerous driving times, right?
Yes. It's actually Memorial Day to Labor Day,
Memorial
the
Day.
100 deadliest days, with July 4th being the deadliest day.
Yeah. How, and I know this is obviously something important to GM, all automakers, that we have, you're driving a vehicle, it only takes a moment to look down and you've gone how many feet, you don't realize how far you've been driving, right?
Yeah, I think the number is if you're driving 55 miles per hour, for 5-second distraction, looking at a text, looking down to see the key, pick up the keys that you just dropped. In that time period, you've traveled the length of a football field.
Yeah. And I know, Steve, that with your work, you have focused on this 100 days. This has been a thing. You've had Mary Barra end PSAs, you've had Tom Brady do PSAs on this, and here you go with this Just Drive. This is kind of, we're going to talk about this Just Drive headset here, but this is something that's important, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's, as I mentioned earlier, the stats are horrific, and a lot of people just don't realize how dangerous it is. So the first step, and when we talk about our foundation, we talk about pillars of awareness, policy, and technology. From an awareness standpoint, we're just trying to get the message out, and it's very simple. When you're behind the wheel, put your phones down and just drive.
Just that simple.
Yep.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Michigan Matters right after this. Welcome back to Michigan Matters. We're talking with Steve Kiefer and Regina Carto of GM about an issue important to anyone who travels in a car. That's distracted driving, which we're talking and raising awareness about it all. And Regina, when it comes to vehicles and technology is changing so quick and AI and everything like this, how does this issue of distracted driving and creating features, I imagine this is like, this, I don't know if it keeps you up at night necessarily thinking about these things, but what's the technology, some of the technology you're working on?
Well, we're fully focused and committed on ensuring that we can prevent distracted driving as much as possible. One of the things I'm really proud of in the course of our vehicle development is the use of our distraction lab, where we have a simulator and our experts use that to assess how far the driver has to reach to touch things, or where their eyes go, where they might be potentially off the road, and for how long. And those experts sign off on all of our programs before we launch it, that they meet our criteria, which is really rigorous. So I'm really proud of the way that we develop this technology, all the technologies that we're putting in the vehicle.
Yeah, and Steve, you have, in fact, over here, you have a simulator that shows similar sorts of things, what we're talking about here, right? And you're taking this, I'm calling it a headset, but you're taking this to high schools around the country, too, to help educate and raise awareness for young drivers, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we refer to it as a Just Drive simulator.
Just Drive simulator.
It's a virtual reality experience, and basically we've been donating them to schools around the country, several here in Michigan and a few other locations. And it allows young drivers to experience a distracted driving crash in a safe environment. So, and the main message is in this experience, you're in the passenger seat, and it's trying to train young drivers to call out the driver if they're demonstrating bad behavior. So we basically say it's not only your obligation, it's your right and your obligation to call out your parents, your friends, your brothers and sisters. If they do something like grab a phone when driving, you call them out and tell them to just drive.
Well, this actually takes this issue down even a little bit further here in terms of learning how to drive and states having different laws and different things going on here. See, you've traveled to different states as you've enacted laws. How complicating is that to try to raise awareness when every state seems to do it a little bit differently?
Yeah, it's both the awareness piece of it and the legislative piece is very, very complicated.
Yeah.
So as we mentioned earlier, we're getting these hands-free laws passed in every state, but every state is different. The legislative process, the timing, and the pushback is really quite incredible. So we're working through every state out there. Like I said, we've got 34 down and we've got 16 to go.
What's the biggest state you want to get to? Was there one state that's going to be the biggest challenge?
Right now, our biggest challenge is Florida. Florida is statistically the most dangerous state in the country. We have about 10% of the deaths in the country happen in the state of Florida, and it's just really a combination of elderly drivers, snowbirds that are lost, spring breakers, and a lot of traffic because a lot of people have moved to Florida. So we're really trying hard to get Florida done.
And Regina, as you go through with these safety features, people don't realize even when you stop, you're driving, you drop something, you dropped a pen, you dropped the time. I mean, you go through and you can calculate how long it takes to reach down, pick it up, and whatever, as opposed to saying, leave it where it is, pull over, get off the side of the road here, right?
Oh, that's exactly right. I think it requires full focus. A lot can happen on the road when you're moving, and we want you to stay focused on the driving task. What we're talking about is totally preventable.
Yeah.
You know, so all of the fatalities and injuries that Steve mentioned are completely preventable, and we think the best, most powerful combination is to use the technologies that we provide for that purpose and prepare yourself when you get in the vehicle. You know, stow the essential things that you might need. On a day like today, it might be sunglasses or your water bottle. Make sure everybody's got what they need. Get your phone connected and stowed. And just drive.
Yeah, I know that when, having a phone in the car, which is temptation enough for anybody, but a young person, particularly if you have friends in the car, there's so many distractions. This has got to be really tough with young people in particular, right?
Absolutely. It's addicting. I mean, you see it everywhere, right? People cannot walk a few feet without looking down at their phone. So trying to break that addiction is really, really important.
Yeah, I know if I have a conversation I really need, I will pull over or pull up the side of the road because I can't concentrate. I can't do two things at once when I'm driving like that. Steve, you have a big event coming up, the Play with Purpose at the Mitchell Kiefer Memorial Rink at the USA Hockey Foundation's anniversary coming up in September, which is a big anniversary, right?
It is. It'll be the 10-year anniversary since we lost Mitchell. So we do an event every year in August or September at that location. The USA Hockey Rink is the home of Detroit Catholic Central, so that's where Mitchell played one of his last games, and they won the state championship. But more recently, that's also the location where 17 of the USA gold medal men's hockey team kind of grew up and played.
Yeah.
So we've got another connection with the Olympic team.
There's some serious hockey. This is not just like, high school. This is some serious hockey going on there.
Yeah, and we're so proud that now it's known as the Mitchell Kiefer Memorial Ice Rink. So it's a great place. It's not just about Mitchell, but you'll find in the ice rink all kinds of messages about distracted driving. We use a term, put it on ice, that Steve Eiserman helped us raise. And
as we said here, it's all about just drive. Keep your hands on the wheel. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Steve, congratulations to everything that you've done here with this. And Regina, same thing with you. Really appreciate it. And thanks to you at home for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you next Sunday for a little bit more Michigan Matters. And remember, just drive.